Evening. Much thanks for joining us here on the program. It is the first day of December 2022, and December 1st is many things, but most importantly, World AIDS Day. And this year, under the theme Equalize Against AIDS, we'll be giving you the detailed report of the HIV infections that have risen in some areas, and of course, the shortage of condoms that has been reported in different counties as well. We have so much more lined up for you in tonight's bulletin. Before we get into the business, here are the highlights. Tonight on Lookup News, COTU Secretary General Francis Atwoli leads Luhya leaders in talks with President William Ruto. Education Task Force recommends junior secondary learners to be domiciled in existing primary schools. A man who pushed Facebook girlfriend off building sentenced to 5 years in prison. And on our Born a Man segment, we feature Robert's Barbershop, a little heaven where men go for emotional remedial. Welcome to Lookuptv News. I am Nelima, and our sign language interpreter for tonight is Angel Lois. Do stay with us, and remember you can catch the live broadcast across all our social media platforms at Lookuptv on Twitter, Lookuptv on Facebook, and Lookuptv on our YouTube channel. Let's begin. 8 police officers from the disbanded Special Services Unit of the DCI have been released on a personal bond of 500,000 shillings each. Kahawa Law Court Chief Magistrate Dan Mochache released the 8 officers after the investigating officers failed to produce a report on DNA test from the suspects.
After spending more than 30 days behind bars, the 8 police officers from the disbanded Special Service Unit SSU will now enjoy a temporary reprieve after the court granted them a bond.
Beginning with the prosecution team.
Senior Magistrate of the Kahawa Law Court released the 8 officers on a personal bond of 500,000 after the state failed to produce before the court the result of the DNA test of the suspects. While arguing the case, the defense lawyers told the court that the suspects were harassed by the police at the custody, adding that they were even beaten and intimidated by the police.
Our plans have been intimidated. We've taken to government chemists without order. In particular, one of the respondents called David Kipsoi. Yesterday at 10:30 a.m. was handcuffed, assaulted.
I need the person who was assaulted, chamber, escort him to the chamber. I want to see the injuries. Yeah, where is the person who was assaulted? We need to see the injuries for the record.
The state lawyers admitted to have used force against the officers.
We would like to get information. It is strange. We just heard it from the bar. To us, the prosecution team, this is a strange allegation. But if this honorable court allows us time, we come back at 2:30, we'll have a proper response to the defense. As regards that particular allegation, it's a serious allegation.
Justice Diana Mochache also released the 3 other officers who were arrested 3 days ago. The 13 SSU officers were arrested after they were suspected to have taken part in the disappearance of 2 Indian nationals and their Kenyan driver, Shadrach Kareria. Lookuptv.
And President William Ruto on Thursday played host to leaders from the Western Kenya, led by COTU Secretary General Francis Atwoli. And as Edwin John Mokoro reports, the leaders who paid a courtesy visit to the president at State House Nairobi discussed Western Kenya politics and labor regulation matters.
Is now dining on the same table months after a heated campaign that saw the declaration of William Ruto as president. In what seems to be a scenario of a foe-turned friend, the visit by Atwoli to State House came as a surprise to many, since the controversial trade union head was at the forefront, campaigning against President William Ruto to the point of stressing that Ruto's name would not be on the ballot. But now, Atwoli seems to be dancing to a different tune as he led the Luhya delegation to State House in attempts to form alliances that would benefit the Mulembe nation politically. The two leaders seem to be burying the hatchet as they now shake hands in smiles, putting the bitter pronunciation they uttered during the campaign period behind them. Atwoli was accompanied by Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula, Kakamega Senator Boni Halwale, among others. For now, it's a matter of time till it's realized if this is another handshake and if Atwoli has decamped from Azimio. Edin John Mokora, Lookuptv.
Thank you, Mokora. And to the corridors of justice, a middle-aged man has been sentenced to 5 years in prison for throwing his alleged girlfriend through the window of the 12th floor at the Bank building in Nairobi after an altercation. And Kitani files the following story.
Gatama Njoroge has been sentenced to 5 years in prison for his role in throwing his ex-girlfriend off the 12th floor of the Bank House building in Nairobi's Central Business District on September 13th, 2020.
Indeed, the offense has brought an impact to the victim and family. Accused is a first offender, although in denial of the offense. Section 234 of the Penal Code provides for life sentence in offense of this nature. However, taking into consideration the young age of the accused and his willingness to rehabilitation to work on his anger and alcoholism, the court is persuaded to sentence the accused person to serve 5 years imprisonment. You have 14 days right of appeal.
According to the victim, Eunice Wangari Wakembe, who appeared before the court in March this year, narrated that she met with Gatama through Facebook. And it is during their first date that the accused threw her off the window for rejecting his sexual advances. The magistrate ruled that the evidence adduced before the court and all the essential ingredients of the offense of grievous harm had been proved beyond reasonable doubt.
The court has considered the accused mitigation as well as the pre-sentence report. The pre-sentence report is comprehensive to include accused personal history as well as victim sentiments and probation officer's recommendation. I have put all above into consideration. The victim life changed drastically out of the commission of the offense. The victim is still undergoing counseling and physiotherapy at Nazareth Hospital after 2 years of the event. She has not been able to continue with her studies at NIBS. Indeed, the offense has brought an impact to the victim and family.
Ian Kitani, Lookuptv.
And the Presidential Working Party on the Education Reform has recommended that the just concluded Grade 6 assessment will not be used for placement in junior secondary schools. In the report, the stakeholders say the Kenya Primary School Education Assessment, KIPSEA, will be used to monitor learning progress.
The Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms on Thursday met President William Ruto at State House, Nairobi, to table the interim report.
My own kids go to the government system, the education system that I preside over. If I cannot trust my children with the system that I am presiding over, why should anybody else do? You know, you cannot be a parent in a different system and you pretend to be a leader in a system that you have no faith in. You know, so that's what is pushing this conversation. I'm just a parent here now, having a conversation with you about my daughter's education, you know, and I really want to know where this is going.
Following the report, the team has recommended that junior secondary schools, grade 7, grade 8 and grade 9 will be domiciled in the existing primary schools. This came as a result of parents complaining about how young the grade 6 students were to be taken to junior high in high schools. The report also recommends that the grade 6 Kenya Primary Schools Education Assessment (KPSEA) will not be used for placement in junior secondary schools. Instead, it will be used to monitor learning progress and provide feedback to education sector players on areas that require intervention. Every primary school will also get an extra classroom and laboratory in the next 1 year. In the meantime, primary schools neighboring secondary schools will share laboratory facilities, with members of parliament urged to support in having these facilities built. The team also recommended that TSC, KICD and the Ministry of Education will ensure teachers are equipped well to handle CBC, with priority given to those who will be handling grade 7 students.
We must, to the extent possible, make education cheaper. The moment you move the place where the kids are going to be further than the primary, you're already making it more expensive. Yeah? And you're already working against the transition. You know? And because the whole concept is to make education affordable. Yeah? Affordable. And the affordability of education, even as we were pushing, is we should have more day schools because day schools are affordable.
Another recommendation is 30,000 teachers will be recruited by the end of January 2023 to deal with the issue of shortage of teachers in the country. The 49-member task force has until March 2023 to table the final report as the country experiences for the first time 3 groups of candidates sitting for the national exams. Brian Amuai, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
Let's now keep up with the hunger crisis in the country. The status in the country continues to affect many areas within Turkana County, being among the most affected. President William Ruto's government has now called upon Kenyans to come forth in order to help those affected after launching a pay bill number to send their donations.
Starving Turkana residents have raised concerns about the allocation of aid food, saying that they have not received any aid food so far, therefore worsening the situation of hunger in the area.
Area hii imekumbwa na hali ya ukame kwa muda mrefu. Tunahitaji wafadhili ambaye atakuwa anaguzwa asaidia jamii ya sehemu hii sana. Mbali na chakula pia kuna mambo ya kiu ya mambo ya maji. Mifugo zote zimeisha. Na hali najua bado iko, naona hali bado iko mbaya.
The aggrieved residents now say that they have been left at the mercy of depending on forest fruits as their daily food, a situation which has caused many children to grow weaker.
Sisi nakula kwa makoma. Iko hapa mstoni, matunda yetu makoma.
Hata watoto ya makoma tu pekee ndio. Wana sasa watu kwanza wana watu nini? Mauli kwanza. Makoma tu ndio anatomesa paka yake.
Religious leaders drawn from the region have also decried the hunger situation in the region, as most children as well as elderly mothers have been largely affected by the extent of famine.
Kweli kwa hakika njaa imezidi. Turkana kuna njaa. Watu wanakufa njaa, wamama, watoto, na hasa watoto tutaweza kupokea shida ya malnutrition ambao watoto kukosa lishe bora inafanya watoto kushikwa na magonjwa mengine. Nataka kuomba serikali yetu, wafadhili na donors wote ambao wanaweza kusupport area hii ya Turkana. Kuna njaa, watu wanakufa njaa.
During the meeting, Priest Kimani was giving aid food to the residents of Kodopa, which was provided by well-wishers through the Food Banking Kenya organization.
Nataka serikali ya kaunti alete msaada. Ndio waokoe hata watoto, waokoe hata wazee, hata wamama, kila kitu.
Mitaruan, Lookuptv.
That story by Mitaru Ann takes us to a very fast break here on the program. On the other side, we have so much more coming up, including a weekly feature of Born a Man. Don't go too far.
To know one's rights often It is an adventure, especially when the opponent seems stronger.
Mradi huu uliingia kwa kishindo maeneo yetu ya Lamu ili kufyeka maeneo na makaazi ya watu.
We want to show you what ordinary people can achieve.
Kenya is now a strong democracy with the independent judiciary.
Our journey to justice.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience in the industry, offering thorough training in cosmetology, hairdressing, interior design, creative arts, training of trainers, nail technology, and fashion design. With branches in Nairobi, Thika, Meru, Eldoret, and now in Mombasa, our courses ensure that learners are completely equipped with knowledge, competency, and employability skills. Enroll today to be a part of a center of excellence.
So mimi nilikuwa mmoja wa timu kubwa ya Hasla na gojea mazao yake.
Na bila shaka mpenzi mtazamaji, ni awamu nyingine tena ya bunge la mwenyeji ambapo tunasikia tu maoni ya wenyeji hasa wananchi wa kawaida. Je, maoni ni yapi?
Anakwambia wananchi ndio kila kitu. Unaona dipsi na system ni wananchi. Unaona vile wamenyorosha watu bwana.
Tumeng'oa nanga kwenye bunge la mwenyeji.
So ile kitu tunamuomba asituachilie.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with Lookuptv. The hashtag is Lookupnews. Nancy Nelima here and Angel Lois on the sound language interpretation. And it's time now for us to continue informing you. Alive and Kicking, social enterprise company in partnership with Lookuptv and other organizations, today organized an AIDS program at Dagoretti Sub-County Hospital in Mutuni as the nation marks the World AIDS Day. The event has seen a good attendance of locals come as it strikes more than 34,000 people and more than 2 million losing their lives. The highest number records 52% of an age group of 15 and 29 years. Moses Okech tells us more.
Dagoretti Sub-County Hospital in Motoene, residents stand out in large numbers to an event organized by Alive and Kicking social enterprise that people are to be tested and get a ball. This is one of the families among others present that now boast of an assurance of being safe after taking a testing step.
That news ya jana ndio ilifanya nikuje leo. Nijijue nisikue maybe mimi ni mwadhiriwa na sijui nianze kujipata maybe afya inadhorotisha inaharibika.
Ningetaka sana, unajua nilikuwa nimekaa sana kabla sijaangaliwa. I was coming just to know status yangu. Yeah, even though I was sure of it, sometimes usikuange sure 100%.
Despite knowing their status and even after being together for a long time, they feel that the danger of the virus might be roaming around without notice.
It is a matter of trust, but pia kuna accidents do happen. Napata ulienda kusaidia mtu kwa first aid, alikuwa positive, amekuwa affect.
In addition, they call on the government and other private sectors to initiate such programs which aims to build up the society.
Ukiangalia line huko ni kubwa. So watu wamekuja kutestiwa at the same time mtu akipata something. Kenya, it all depends on what am I getting in return.
We need a lot of initiatives like these ones. Watu wakuja wapimwe ndio, there is that person uko kwa kijiji maybe anaogopa, maybe it is expensive.
On the other hand, those that participated in the event did not lack a word.
And I've just come to know my status.
Wale wako huko wasiogope, wakuje wapimwe, wajijue hali hao.
Unajua sika vijana, hii ugonjwa ni sina tu affect sana. Sasa lazima mtu ajue status yake ndio uweze adika, yani uplay safe.
Since 2004 till now, the organization has been running these programs and creating awareness of the HIV and AIDS. Martin Bernard, one of the organizers, states that the results are appealing.
And the realization was that the ball is a fantastic tool when you're talking about creating awareness of social issues, particularly.
According to the report from the National Syndemic Control Council, in the new cases of up to more than 34,000 people, 70% are women and girls, with a prevalence of 4.5% are of adolescents and people aged 15 and 49.
Research has shown we have more women who know their HIV status as compared to men. About over 80% of women do know their HIV status.
In an interview with Dr. Josephine, the early testing is vital for a person's self-being and the build-up of the society.
As a healthcare worker, getting yourself tested, knowing your status. If you do test negative, making sure you remain negative. If you do test positive, getting yourself to a point of care so that there is treatment, it's available, it's free.
Also, it is not a one-man responsibility, but a collective one, including the efforts of the public and the private sectors.
This heavy weight, to carry the heavy weight together, because it belongs to all of us as Kenyans, it doesn't belong to just the government, it's not the work of the government only. And I do know that, like, for example, private hospitals, they do actually do a lot when it comes to HIV testing.
And as the nation marks the World AIDS Day across the country, Alive and Kicking hopes that many will come to be tested and get a boil. Master Sokech, Lookuptv.
And moving on, tonight, the High Court Judge Jairus Nga has recused himself from hearing a petition challenging the National Government Constituency Development Fund. This was after the National Assembly made an application through lawyers Otiende Amolo and Peter Kaluma, who claimed the judge was part of the bench that adjudicated over the impugned act in another matter that declared 23 laws unconstitutional. Grace Murithi now reports.
Challenging the quashing of the legality of the CDF after the Apex Court termed it null and void in its entirety on Thursday took a fresh twist. This is after Justice Jairus Nga recused himself from hearing a suit that challenges the 2015 National Government Constituency Development Fund Act. This has come about when the National Assembly filed a petition through attorneys Otiende Amolo and Peter Kaluma, who alleged that the judge was a member of the panel that decided on the contested act in a separate case in which 23 laws were found to be unconstitutional.
The parties who are seeking to join this matter are going to be prejudiced if this matter will proceed today without their participation. And secondly, my lords and my lady, a slight look at the court order. The order was given by one judge as opposed to the 3 judges, and therefore we feel very strongly that it ought to have been considered by the entire bench before matter takes a turn. And finally, my lords and my lady,
despite his decision to recuse himself, Justice Nga has acknowledged that he presided over the bench that invalidated the 23 laws, stating that he might find himself in an uncomfortable position where he might reconsider his decision unintentionally or find it challenging to reverse it.
Of the welfare of the people in the constituencies. Number 2, my lords and my lady, most of the councils who are to join this matter were elected on the 8th of August 2022. And therefore, this matter came before them when they joined Parliament. The matters were brought before them, and after canvassing, they decided there is a gap in which they need to come and cover. and more so because they represent the people.
This has come after the National Government Constituency Development Fund Act 2013's fate was sealed when the Supreme Court ruled it unconstitutional in August of this year. The act, which was passed in 2013 and amended in 2015, was declared illegal by the Supreme Court judges. Grace Mureithi, Lookuptv.
A total of 20,700,000.
And shifting gears in this week's episode of Bonaman, Robert Waweru Njaramba, a 42-year-old barbershop owner, reveals to us that in the 22 years of running a barbershop business, barbershops are among the places men go for therapy, with a number of them leaving his shop feeling less burdened. Cecilia Lubanga brings us this story.
My name is Robert Waweru Njaramba. I'm a barber by profession. Wakati my dad aliona ni kitu iko ndani yangu, alijaribu kuniambia vitu zingine naweza fanya nini, lakini nilimwambia nataka kuwa kinyozi. Wakati nilimwambia hivyo, ndio alininunulia mashini za kwanza. Zile tulikuwa tunaziita kam. So tulikuwa hizo ndizo nilianza nazo. Nikaenda tu nikiadvance. So wakati nilimaliza shule ndio akaniambia kama hiyo ndio unataka, twende sasa Nairobi. Dandora, huko ndio nilianzia safari yangu ya kwanza. That is back in 1999.
Okay, sawa. Ngoja na tuma. Okay.
What keeps me going is my family. Seeing my wife, seeing my children, and nililelewa na hardships mob sana. So I could see my dad and my mom walikuwa na hustle sana, but hata kama hawangetupatia ile kiwango unaweza sema ya kisasa, they did their best. So my family, siwezi taka kuwa na watoto wangu pia ati wanateseka.
Nataka kula pia.
My lowest time as a provider imekuwa ni wakati COVID iliingia. And I remember the CS wakati huo alisema barbershops and salons huko ndio COVID ina spread zaidi. So watu waliogopa. Nilikuwa nakaa hata siku 2 sijanyoa mtu. Watu hii hawajui kama kuna COVID, watu hii hawajui kama unaweza provide ama huwezi provide. All they know is that wewe ndio kila kitu. Ilikuwa ni challenge until wakati nilionyesha clients kuwa naweza vaa protective gear na pia naweza wa visit kwa home zao, naweza enda kuwanyolea kwa ofisi zao. That's when mambo ilianza kuamka. What guides me is the fear of God, first of all, and the passion I have for what I do. Some of my top clients, niko na watu kama akina Churchill, akina MCJC, watu kama akina Moha, anajulikana kama Mheshimiwa Mohamed Jichopevu, na wengine ni wengi. The list is long. I started by becoming a provider kwa familia yetu. Nilikaa kama 2 years or 3 years kabla sijaenda ushago wakati niliingia Nairobi. Kwa sababu ile kidogo nilikuwa napata naambiwa huku njaa imezidi, huku sijui nini. And my dad had an accident before niingie Nairobi. So ilibidi sasa mimi nichukue nafasi yake. Wakati pia nilipata familia, siwezi sema nilikuwa stable sana, lakini nao pia miaka ilikuwa inasonga. Na unajua society nayo ilimechukulia mwanaume lazima mapema ndio wanasemanga mapema ndio best. So wana expect kuna mwanaume anaoa haraka. Wanataka especially the parents wanataka kuona wajukuu. So kila saa unapata mwanaume yeye hupewa pressure sana. Kwa nini haujatuletea bibi? Mbona haujatuletea watoto? So ilikuwa ni pressure na imekuwa ni pressure, but ukijua what you want in life and you put passion in it, utaenda mbali. I wish society inaweza badilika. Ile pressure ambayo mwanaume hupigwa, lazima afanye, yani unapata anaambiwa kila kitu lazima afanye, na unapata ni kama mwanaume hana say ikifika ni mzigo ikiwa mzito kwake. Umeambiwa provide for this, hii side lazima usimame, you are wewe ndio uko na security ya familia, wewe ndiye kioo ya society na nini. The same way unapata society inasema tunafaa ku treat women the same way we treat men, and then society bado inasema what a man can do, a woman can do better. Tunajaribu ku empower women zaidi, yet the responsibility bado imebaki kwa mwanaume. Mwanaume asipewe pressure, kwa sababu society imefanya mwanaume ati hawezi sema hii kitu imekuwa nzito kwangu. Mwanaume hafai kulalamika, so mwanaume hafai kulia, mwanaume hafai kuonyesha emotions, but he's human. He feels pain wakati mambo imekuwa nzito. Men cry inside, lakini tunafaa kuchukulia mwanaume pia ajulika, hata yeye mwenyewe feel yeye ni mwanaume. Unapata mtoto wa kiume kutoka akiwa mdogo anaambiwa hakuna kulia, wewe ni mwanaume. Mimi nasemanga nikafunguliwa tu hivi niseme zile vitu men huongea hapa ni mob. Men share, especially wakati wamekutana kwa kinyozi. Secondly, kwa bar. Huko ndio unapata wanaendaga kutoa frustration zao. Wakienda wapata na group mbaya, utapata hiyo group wataongea vitu negative. That's when utapata wameanza kukuwa na tabia ambazo si poa. Na mtu anaweza kuja akiwa na negative mind about marriage, mtu anaweza kuja ongee negative things about life, but once tumeshare na wao, wakati kuna wadu utampatia, utasikia mtu anakuambia by the way Roba, hapa umenisaidia, ama hata anafika kwa ofisi anakupiga anakuambia Roba, ile kitu uliniambia mazi, hiyo kitu sijaifikiria na hiyo angle, nimefeel poa. If a man is listened to, vitu nyingi zitakuwa rahisi. Wengine wanahepa kwa familia zao kwa sababu they can't argue with the people or the people they are living with, their wives. Maybe they don't want to show their children that wamelemewa, na kulemewa sio issue. Issue ni kukaa chini mnaongea. So I wish men wanaweza kuwa napewa hiyo platform wasikike.
And that is a weekly feature of Born a Man by Cecilia Lubanga. And of course, you can be looking forward to it every single Thursday right here, where we tell the stories of the joys and of course the sorrows of the nature of a man. Moving on to some business story. Information, Communication and Technology Cabinet Secretary Eliud Owalo has said that the government is planning to set up over 25,000 internet hotspots all over the country. Owalo said that this today during the launch of the Airtel Internet Mashinani product that is aimed at promoting 4G internet connectivity to the grassroots and rural areas in the country. Erin John Mokora with that story.
We want to roll out to the tune of 25,000 digital hotspots in the village. We want internet everywhere. Where the government can do its bit, we will do. But we are also appealing to the private sector to partner with us so that we can have concerted efforts as far as delivery of this intention is concerned. We want to ensure that internet will not just be available in the villages, but we want to go the extra last mile so that we have internet up to each and every household.
So Airtel Mashinani basically meaning that we are going to the masses. And one of our responsibilities as the regulator of this industry is to try as much as possible to ensure that ICT services are as inclusive as much as possible. So I know, Waziri, you will talk about the digital economy. On our end, we want to support what we call the inclusive digital economy. And an inclusive digital economy means that every citizen in this country, regardless of the economic status, must feel part and parcel of a growing economy.
Thank you.
Time now to get sporty right here on Lookuptv. Now, the Cabinet Secretary of Sports, Babu Namwamba, has led Kenyans and has assured Kenyans on the government's position in the fight against doping amongst Kenyan athletes. He has assured Kenyans that he will not allow a few suspects to ruin the heritage of Kenyan athletics. This has come up after Kenya was close to being suspended by World Athletics due to doping by its athletes.
We will not allow a few greedy criminal elements to soil this proud tradition, to destroy this proud, hard-earned heritage of a nation that prides itself on competing and winning clean. So we will hunt for you, we will locate you, and we will deal with you decisively.
When you remember the CS the other day mentioned about one of the culprits who was arrested in Eldoret, maybe there are many more, because they are handlers of some of these drugs and so forth. So these are the kind of things that we are looking at, so that we can clean this sport completely. We would like our sport to be clean. We would like our sport to be proper. We would not want to spoil the results that we have received in all those days. And so as the new generation comes up, we have already, as Milka said, we are now concentrating on the young generation. We are now teaching and taking the under 20 and even up to under 18 and even to the schools.
And Sports Principal Secretary nominee Jonathan Mweke has promised to focus more on sports by tapping into Kenyan talent early. He looks to achieve this by working with the Ministry of Education to add sports into the school curriculum and ensure proper funding together with the Kenya Academy of Sports.
Is traditionally a sporting nation, and we have a lot of potential that is untapped.